On Radio Oxford, we've been following the story of little Ali Kim. He's the 5-year-old Oxford boy who's living with an extremely rare genetic condition which affects his immune system. Ali's family have just had some incredible news. After a 3-year search, and against all the odds, they've managed to find a bone marrow transplant match in China. Ali's parents, Andrew and Judy, have been campaigning for more people to become bone marrow donors, adding more than 10,000 new names to the registry worldwide. David Prever's been speaking to them and started by asking them to tell him more about their son.
Well, he's generally a very happy boy. He loves his Transformers and running around, jumping, playing with his older brother. So classical rough and tumble. So
he's a very silly boy. He loves dancing. He loves singing. He makes up these like really strange songs. I don't know where they come from, but he'll just about everyday things. So like whether it's chopping up vegetables and fruits, or whether it's going to the toilet, or picking up toys, and he has a lot of like stuffed animals, and he makes up songs about them.
When did you first discover that he wasn't very well?
Well, he was about 18 months and he got this terrible fever, and it lasted nearly a month. We went to the GP several times. They said, oh, it'll be okay. And then finally it was too long. So then we ended up going to the JR, and then the JR was very, very good. And they brought us in and they asked us a million questions about every little detail about him. And they managed to solve the problem that he has this immune disorder.
It's a tricky thing to diagnose. The JR had only seen one other case in the past 10 years. Wow. So it's not something that happens very often. So everything kind of progressively got scary.
Didn't they? Well, they did like his tummy scan. They found his liver had these abscesses.
Goodness.
And we said, oh, is that cancer? What is that? And they said, no, it's not cancer. They didn't really know exactly what it was, but it was, later we found it's the bacteria, which he can't fight like normal people, had just been sitting there and growing. But they didn't know why would that happen.
I think for us it was a bombshell, because you go in for a fever and you get stuck in hospital for several days, and at the end of it they say actually he has this completely rare disease with really bad outcomes, and we don't actually know. There's not necessarily a cure per se other than a bone marrow transplant, and we'll start looking for that straight away.
What on earth was going through your mind at that time?
And I don't know, we just freaked out. I mean, I don't even know what's happening. Judy has to stay in the hospital with Ali because he's only 1 year old. We can't leave him here by himself. We have another son at home. I need to go back and forth.
How old's your other son?
Now he's 8.
But he obviously knows what's going on at 8.
Yeah, so. I mean, at the time he was only like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So we were just scrambling to figure out, well, who's going to watch him? What are we going to do?
Yes.
And they were talking about sending him to London, and it was a lot of chaos.
And out of that chaos, you knew that it was about the bone marrow transplant. That was what you had to find a donor.
We knew that was what could save him.
If you talk to like Anthony Nolan or DKMS, the bone marrow groups, they kind of just say like 1 in a million people that sign up end up being your match. But for us, it was particularly hard because you are genetically more likely to be matched with someone of a similar ethnicity. I know it sounds like I'm American, but I grew up in America. I've been living here for ages. But then we're Korean by descent. And so then we're likely to find a match of an Asian person. And Asia's slightly behind on their bone marrow donation.
How do you get through the day-to-day?
Wow. For her, it's much harder because she's stuck in that room. That room is like half this. I don't think
you're with him all the time, are you?
Yeah, you are. You have to,
You gotta
care
be
for
there.
them. You feed them. Someone brings you the food, but you have all these requirements in a single day. You have to wash every day. You don't want any bacteria anywhere. You have to, every time you open and close the door of the room, you have to wash your hands. The child does not leave the room for like 3 months because the fear that they'll catch something when their cells are, so
I mean, just
low.
think about when your child is poorly and you have to stay home with them one day from school if your partner's sick and you have to take care of them. You want to do it because they're your loved ones, but it is a lot of work. And for her, she's stuck in that room watching her son, who's in incredible pain, for 24 hours a day for 7 days a week for 3 or 4 months in a row. I mean, the great thing is there's this huge registry out there. There's a huge registry in the UK through Anthony Nolan, through DKMS, and in America they have something similar, Be the Match. So, and there's millions of people worldwide who are signed up to this registry. If you're Caucasian, actually, the chances of you finding a match are fairly high. I think it's like 90% that you'll find a match. But then if you look at some of the different ethnicities, whether it's African American or if it's Indian or if it's East Asian, there's not as many people of that ethnicity signed up.
But you managed to sign up people, did you? You managed to get people signed up. How did you do this, and how many? Because this is impressive.
So we worked a lot in the UK, in America, in Korea, and we were signing up people from regardless of ethnicity. And
you signed up 10,000 people, is that right?
Yeah, we had over 100 live events, signed up over 10,000 people in person, and then online probably another, thousands more.
Somebody knew Son Heung-min from the Tottenham, and that was really a great thing because he so kindly put on his Facebook to please
Did he?
donate.
Son put this on his Facebook
He did,
page?
yeah. It was amazing. We don't know him at all, but he said so kindly, please donate and help my friend Ali. It was very sweet.
It's amazing.
And when he posted that in Korea, it went bananas.
He's a big star, presumably, is he?
Yeah, in the papers, and it really, really helped raise awareness, and got people talking and saying, okay, maybe I'll sign up. Maybe I'll go to one of these events.
Tell me about the moment when you learned that you'd found the match.
So we have a nurse specialist who deals with Ali. So she rang me one morning. I was driving to work. She said I was going to talk about something. Are you busy? And I said, oh, it's okay. I just parked the car. Go ahead and we can talk. And then she just said, I think that, they found a match in China. And then, of course, I just started crying, because we've been waiting for 3 years for that news. And, after a few years, you start to think, oh, that's not going to happen for us.
So what happens now then? Because it's still a long road ahead. Where are you right now with this?
So right now, we are planning to go back to London for chemotherapy. So from that point on, he'll be in the hospital, kind of in an isolated room for the next 4 to 5 months. After chemotherapy, his body is ready to receive the new stem cells, the new bone marrow, and they'll transplant that in.
Through his vein.
And then it's just watching to see that it actually starts growing and that he starts recovering. And making sure he doesn't get sick in the meanwhile.
Thank you for sharing that with us all this morning, and I just wish you the very best. That's all I can say, and keep us up to date. I look forward to sharing more good news with you, I hope.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
What an incredible story. Andrew and Judy Kim, who, after 3 years, which must have seemed like a lifetime, they found a bone marrow transplant match for their 5-year-old son. We wish them all the luck going forward. And by the way, David Prever back with The Breakfast Club tomorrow from 7.
BBC Radio Oxford. David Prever's Breakfast Club. If you want